Um, Hi, everybody. My name is Ellen Glean. I'm the executive director of Unpossible NL, the coordinator of the RPM Challenge around the world this year. And I am very excited to be doing these workshop series in collaboration with a bunch of other organizations in Newfoundland and around Canada. And today we're going to be talking to Natasha Blackwood and Danielle Hamel about making music with kids because the RPM Challenge, they're so like it's so open. It's not a contest, so then it's I think an excellent way for kids to experiment and get used to making music of their own. I have really fond memories of having a crappy tape recorder at home and just making crazy noises and albums and radio shows and things like that as a kid. And I just never really forgot that, and I just really loved the idea that the excitement and the joy of listening back to myself and hearing what I made and what other people, even if it was noise and just like we were just banging on stuff, it was just really enjoyable. And I just love the idea that people are taking the RPM challenge as an opportunity to do that. The kids are taking that opportunity, and parents in their lives are also, or adults in their lives are also encouraging these young people to take that opportunity and do that stuff. So, yeah, welcome to Natasha Blackwood and Danielle Hamel. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Okay.
Natasha, might as well start with you. So, can you tell me a little bit about yourself as a musician generally, and just maybe start with there?
Sure. I play saxophone and piano. I'm a songwriter. I'm a part of a couple different projects. I have my own solo project, and I'm also part of a band called Eastern Owl, and a not-for-profit jazz organization called Jazz East. And so I have a few albums out now, but the very first one I ever made was The Hash Browns, which was an album I made with my kids in 2016, which kind of led to me recording the first Eastern Owl album with the exact same setup, and then kind of led to making things that were a little bit more produced. So the RPM was like a real kickoff for me for my recording career. So it's pretty cool to be here today.
I love that story that the RPM Eastern Owl, they're amazing and like really widely recognized. They're a big group now. That makes me really proud that happened. So how can you tell me how that happened a little bit?
Well, Eastern Owl's been together since 2012, but it's like an Indigenous led all women's folk group, and we kind of combine like traditional First Nations drum music with contemporary folk music. And so when we first started, we were just playing traditional music, and we weren't recording because a lot of the music, it's like not appropriate to record it. You don't even know who owns it really. So we just kind of performed at community events and celebrations and stuff like that. And then we were together for a few years before we started writing our own songs. And then we didn't really know a whole lot about, how to apply for things or where we fit into things in the industry, because we still kind of identified as like a community group. But we did have some of our own songs that we kind of just wrote sitting around drinking tea, having a laugh. So I made the RPM with my kids. That was, just for fun. So then I kind of had this recording set up in my basement. I was like, we should just try to record and see what happens. And it was very, it was like, oh, that takes good enough. Oh, that takes good enough for the first Eastern Owl record. So we listen back to it now, and it's like, oh, I wish we had taken more time with that one. But it kind of acted as a demo then for us to like apply for our second album. So like a lot of times when you apply for these bigger album grants, if you have big aspirations, like we did by, after a few years went by. And so having access to demos is a tricky thing because it can be time consuming and expensive. So our RPM album acted as the demos that we used to apply for funding for our second album. And we got fully funded from two different avenues. And for our second album, that went on to win a Music and Award and ECMA.
Amazing. And It all started with kids.
It all started, yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Well, that's kind of what led us there. I
What
feel like
led you there? Not started, but yeah, the recording part anyway.
yeah, like I feel like we probably would have recorded eventually, but I don't know
Totally.
when. Like it probably would have taken longer if the RPM challenge is so cool because where you're not focusing on having a polished product, it's just like doing it. It's like the act of just doing it. So it's okay to say like, that's good enough, and that's good enough. Just get it done, get it done. It's done. And so it takes the pressure off to make something that's totally perfect. I know one thing that I struggle with as an artist is when I make something, just going back and fixing it over and over and over and over and over until I hate it because I just want it to be perfect. And so I probably put out less than I could because sometimes I'll finish things and by the time they're finished, I'm so sick of them, I don't even like them anymore. So the RPM is cool in the way that the focus is not perfection. It's just the act of doing. So I think people are a lot more free, like carefree, and there's less pressure and less stress, and just creating for the sake of creating.
That's awesome. Danielle, can you tell me about what about your music? I mean, you've got so many different projects on the go, but can you say a few words about that?
For us, I mean, I record a lot with my husband Matthew Thompson. He recorded in his basement when he was grade 6. I was 6 years old. So I came to recording by meeting him and being, whoa, what's this recording thing? So we've been recording since 2002. It's the first time we recorded together. And I feel like that was just inevitable that when we had kids, we would want to record with them and just try to like and spread that seed of like, you can create something. Look how good it feels to create something. Short version. If you the other projects, yeah, I mean, it could be Frankie and Land of the Lakes is the two current ones I'm in right now. And of course, then my son, he identifies as Truck Rocket, but I think he's going to change it. I think he's like aged out now that he's 8.
Truck Rocket is a good 7-year-old band name. Actually, no, it's a good band name in general. Let's face it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the car phase was so big for age 5, 6, 7-year-olds, but we'll see.
Before we get too deep into the kids stuff, tell me about Land of the Lakes first. So Matthew Thompson, your partner, and you recorded under that name. Is that what you started as in 2002?
No, we were the Corduroys then.
Mm-hmm.
We were the Corduroys, which is it was very of that time. I don't know, it's very cutesy. And then we were Open Fields in Montreal. That was 2008-ish. And then Matthew went solo, and then I tagged on to him. So we were Matthew J. Thompson, Danielle Hamel, which is way too big of a mouthful. And then that became Land of the Lakes.
And Land of the Lakes relates to your family in a different way, doesn't it?
Yes. The name, our youngest son is Lachlan. So that means from the Land of the Lakes. So
it's just a family of poets. That's excellent. Really happy that you guys have wanted to pass on your love of music onto your kids. Danielle, can you tell me how that started for you? Like what how that started?
I like to think of it as our kids are like they're master consumers at this stage. They just consume copious amounts of YouTube channels. Like they're always consuming media, but I know that feeling of like when you consume it, but you don't ever consider yourself like a creator, I suppose. So like breaking down that barrier of like, you can do that. You see that person that's doing that thing you like, that song, like that's easy. You want to try it. That's how I am. That's how I was approaching it.
it could even be frustrating. It's like, why is this kids music so terrible? Like we could be making better kids music. um, uh, but and Natasha, how did it start for you with your family?
Well, my kids are, follow me around. So like having personal space is like always a thing. So I always want to sing and like play piano and practice. And so they'd always be around and they'd be like, oh, I don't like that song. Let's sing this song. And then they would just start singing something random, As I guess I sing when I'm doing things like around the house, I'm like, I'm gonna grab the laundry, and I don't know, I just do it. So then they started doing it too. So I just thought it was really funny. I don't think I really realized I was doing it until like my kids started doing it. And so I started recording just their little things that they sing with like the voice note recorder on my phone. And so they would just be singing about whatever, sometimes like in the car, and they would just start singing and I would just record it. So I have a really bad memory, so that I wouldn't forget. And so then I would kind of take their ideas home and like finish them. It's like, oh, what if we added this and just needs a chorus? What if we did this at the chorus? So it was really like they were like kind of the catalyst. But that year in 2016, it was just like a bunch of my friends were making RPMs and like, I want to do that too. Like we got all these voice notes. And at the time, I was not very confident in my own songwriting. Like I had all these little snippets. And I'm just a really anxious person. So the idea of like creating an album of my own music was like way too overwhelming. But if it was like these kids' ideas that were like super cute, then it was less scary. And then something that I've always done in my work is help other people finish their songs and like finish their records. So like I'm good at finishing stuff. So yeah, it was a really good like tear off the Band-Aid situation for me too, just to force me to like put something out, So yeah, it kind of, all the ideas on that whole record are their ideas, not mine.
This may be a good opportunity to show people what you mean. Like you have a video that.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. She might be mad at me if
she might be.
So well, she's almost 9 now. So she was 3 at the time, and she was just playing with this like rubber lizard and like singing a song about a lizard. But hang on, I'll show you. It's gonna be from my Facebook, so apologies if I show you something I don't mean to accidentally. Let's try this out now. Can you see it? You can see it? Yeah? Okay. So this is my daughter Nina.
Like a kitty, a lizard. Oh, it's a letter. Hopping like a lizard right now, lizard tail, lizard tail, lizard tail, lizard, lizard, lizard on the web. A beak is on the web. A beak, beak, beak.
All right, so that is.
That's amazing. I just love that so much. What did she say?
Hopping like a lizard. It's a lizard tail, and I think she's saying like the beat is all around. She still sings about this. She sings about the beat. She's like always concerned about the beat. So we took that, and my husband is in this band as well, and his brother Adam. So we're kind of like a whole family band. And so we just took it and it was like, it's that exact thing. And then it was like, well, one verse is about a lizard and then like one is a dino. We decided that it would be like this.
Hopping like a lizard right now, a lizard, it's a lizard tail. Hopping like a lizard right now, a lizard, it's a lizard tail. Lizard, lizard, lizards all around. Beat, beat, beat is all around.
So like, that's just what we did. And the next verse is like, hopping like a dino with a dino tail. Anyway, it's just silly, and the whole album is really silly. But yeah, so I just thought it'd be cool to take their ideas unfiltered and not try to make them make sense. My daughter Lucy now, who's like turning 13 next week, is really like not a fan of this Hash Browns album anymore. And sometimes we made this video, like Hash Browns are my favorite, which was totally her idea and her concept, and she like directed it. And it kind of blew up. Someone even made like a 8-hour long like loop video of it.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, and so people like recognize her as like the hash browns girl. She's in junior high now, so it's like
Right.
the other thing. Although she's recently, we just kind of talked about like laughing at yourself if people are making fun of you. So now if she walks into a room and people start singing hash browns are my favorite food, she just starts singing along. So and now they've kind of stopped teasing her about it. So she's slightly more empowered about it. Actually, she just changed. We have like a family group chat on our phones, and she just changed it to the Hash Brown Bros like yesterday. So I think I think we're cool with it again.
Coming full circle.
Yeah, she really wanted me to take it down for a while, and I was just like, no, because you'll regret it. You know. So you just have to deal. This was your idea. You did it. Yeah. This is an important lesson about the permanence of what you put on the internet. Like,
Yeah,
you can delete it, but somebody else obviously has access to it if they put an 8-hour loop of it on YouTube. So, you know, us taking it down is not going to make a difference. So.
That's the hash browns are my favorite food. Yeah, that was definitely the standout. That's where the name of the band came from, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, so that was just like a song that she wrote while at Smitty's, like waiting for hash browns, just like singing about waiting for hash browns. And then we just decided to call the band the Hash Browns, and like even the album cover is a hash brown.
Big old hash brown. Is there a lizard on there? I think there.
Yeah, there's a hash brown, a lizard, and like some chocolate milk.
Right.
All the good things. Yeah.
Danielle, so let's talk about Truck Rocket.
I will second that thing about always doing a memos app. Like
really?
I have a memos app. I do it for me, but whenever I come up with a most simple idea, I gotta keep it. But for the kids, they're singing, brushing their teeth. They're singing like a little thing. I'm like, okay, that's a song, buddy. Even Lachlan is so stubborn that he believes that Thurston's a musician, so he's not, and he's just ready to live like. No, that's Thurston's thing. I'm going to find my own thing. So I asked him, what song do you have? And he says, nothing. I have nothing. I have nothing. And I'm like, buddy, we're going to turn that into a song. So I have nothing. I have nothing. I have nothing. No. So we're laughing that that's going to be his song. Like, you can't, it's so easy to take one little idea and extrapolate that into entire song. So I've got a few memos there, and then Thurston's gotten used to the idea so much that he'll come like, Mom, I got an idea. Can you record it?
Really? Oh,
So,
good.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so he's kind of taken it on. Like, how was it convincing him to do the project? Like, let's get real here.
Yeah. Well, it was. I think there's no frame of reference when you start. You don't understand, what's behind it. But then once you see it progress, then you get like this added confidence, or like this, oh yeah, okay, yeah, keep going. So for him to hear the little thing that, his beatboxing, because he is into beatboxing, to hear that fleshed out into a full song was such a confidence building thing. Like, I've heard him say to his friends, like, my band, like, so so now he has taken it on as like an identity. He makes music,
My daughter Nina does too, even though she was like 3 at the time, and most of her on the album is like her shouting stuff, like lizard tail, like, and just like shaking stuff. But whenever it's like, tell me about you, you get these like projects at school, they're like all about me. She's like, I'm in a band called the Hash Browns, and she still does the same thing now. She's like, I have an idea, pass me your phone, and she'll like make the voice note like herself, and she's always like, let's work on our record. Anyway, she decided the next one's gonna be like her solo album, and she wants it to be like, yeah, well, all my kids are 5 years apart because, I don't know, we're just not good at planning. But they're like, they have very few common interests. So like, they don't really like each other's ideas as much. So they want to make their own separate things. So like Lucy, who's turning 13, is like really into like playing sad indie pop on the ukulele. And like Nina's really into like singing songs about unicorns and rainbows. And they just don't fit a theme, So they each need their own individual projects.
Well,
Yeah.
the extension of that that happened with the band Banana Vacuum is that two siblings collaborated. They were both very different ages, and one went to recording school and worked with his younger brother to his 8-year-old younger brother to make a punk rock album. And so then eventually your kids might start, forming these bands and like helping each other like up
A
in
good,
those kinds of ways. Danielle, go ahead.
yeah. Oh, a good point. And Chuck, Banana Vacuum have been so inspiring. Just
Really?
to see, for our kids to see them, like they've passed by Mark Turwick, and then they're like, that's the guy. Like that's him. It seems so accessible. It makes it like, yeah. And they have been inspired by seeing someone their age like singing, performing, doing that. Like, oh, I can do that too. So,
Yeah, it's nice to frame it in a way too that it's not like, oh, you're good, like for a kid. It's just like, no, you're just good. This is just good. It's just art. You're an artist. This is art. And it might be slightly immature, but because they're immature, they don't actually see it that way. So it can be really empowering. I know Nina used to be really, really shy. And since we did this project and she got so much attention, and we went to like the RPM drop off at Rocket, and some of our friends were there and they're like asking for their autographs and stuff. And it's just like the sweetest thing you've ever seen. And now she goes to Courtney Fowler Performance Academy doing musical theater. And she never would have had the confidence to do that before. But I think just being like, it put her in this mindset of like, I'm a performer. So it just gave this like level of confidence that she wouldn't have had before. So she's like, oh, well, this is fine. I'm in a band, So now she goes to this performance program and is in musicals, and it just blows my mind how like this little silly project we did in our basement can have such a profound impact on a person like years later.
Is there some kind of like there's a bit of sleight of hand, like you're treating it like a very small project, and it is, and but then it takes on a life of its own once it's out there. So then if it gets attention, then they can see it outside of themselves and see other people interacting with it and feeling, experiencing it, I guess. And is that
yeah,
the kind of thing?
I remember when we did our kids album. So Land of the Lakes did a kids album, rock album for kids. Yeah, it was RPM in 2017. And the kids were listening every step of the way, which is almost like a stepping stone to making their own, I suppose, just watching a song grow. And when they heard, I think it might have been you, when we went to the drop off and they were like, yeah, I really like the song Cookies Are Okay Sometimes. And they were just looking at you like, how do you know that song? Like, it was just such a confusing concept that anyone outside of our circle would have heard it and experienced.
Yeah, let's talk about that song. I'm gonna dig up a clip here. Was that done under Land of the Lakes?
Land of the Lakes, yeah.
So that ended up being a family album, I guess. So
yes.
Yeah, tell me about that year. I guess it seemed like there was a different writing process there.
For
Pink Rabbit.
Pink Rabbit, yes. Even that, this was before Thurston did his own RPM, so he wrote the song. He wrote the song Zamboni by singing, and even I sent a video. That's one of those videos. He was again humming along. Of like, watch the Zamboni clear the ice. Watch the Zamboni clear the ice. And I'm like, I brainstormed with him to write the rest of the lyrics, and then he got to see that, as a finished product. Zamboni.
I said, okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I just loaded the video and it appeared. So
okay.
Here we go. I'll play this here now.
Are you sharing your screen?
I'm gonna load it up here now. Just a second. Here we go. So.
What's a Zamboni? Blue eyes. Faster than Bonnie today.
Start again.
1, 2,
3, 4.
Making it look so smooth and nice
Did you like to say on it?
tonight.
When a pony comes in, you gotta come off.
Yeah, that's it.
Making it look so smooth and nice. You will never want to stop, but when the ceremony comes, you gotta get off.
Amazing. So yeah, what you took his, he was the writer.
Mm-hmm.
And how did he react when he heard the final song? It must have been just mind blowing.
Yeah, well, I think that's what started made it easier to convince him to do an RPM, I guess, the next year after that. It's exciting stuff.
And that album was a full album of little tracks. What were some of the other stories from that year?
That Cookies Are Okay Sometimes has lived on past that album for sure. That one, again, trying to get kids interested in songs in general, writing songs about their life. I mean, now we might be writing songs about like Minecraft and stuff like that. Might be how we engage them now, but at the time, cookies and you know, yeah, Cookies Are Okay Sometimes is literally just telling them healthy foods. Don't eat your broccoli, eat this one. You can eat cookies. Cookies are okay sometimes.
I'm gonna load that song up just so people can hear it. Oh, this is.
It's got a long intro.
It's got a long intro. Oh no, it's what?
Broccoli is healthy and carrots are very healthy, and zucchini is good for you, and snappies, they are healthy. Corn on the cob is healthy, and sweet potato is healthy. Brussels sprouts are good for you, chickpeas are delicious and healthy. And should you eat your eggplant, you will feel bad if you haven't had some healthy foods in your lunch, something good for you in your lunch. Would you like a fried egg or a scrambled poached or boiled egg? Because all of them will give you the energy they get through. And cookies are okay sometimes. And cookies are okay sometimes.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a really good lesson.
It is. It's a like metaphor for life there. That's came up a lot. It's also hilarious to see them headbang to that and like really give it their all. Like, yeah, I feel this. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's easy getting kids to do these things and to get into making music. But can you tell me some of the like how some of the difficulties maybe that you've overcome and how you did that? Natasha, do you have any advice for encouraging people to get the kids in their lives to make music?
Well, I mean, I can only speak from my experience, I guess, but my kids are just relentlessly creative, you know, to come up with these ideas, but like following through on the work of it is like the challenge. So one thing that, you know, made it kind of attainable was that we were doing a lot of work behind the scenes, like without them. So they would come up with the idea, we'd finish the idea with them, but then when it came to recording all the bed tracks and everything, we did that at the night while they were asleep. And so they just kind of came in to like overdub their vocals or smash on a keyboard or whatever. And so, you know, just knowing that like they can't actually contribute to like the entire process, or maybe some people's kids have like way more patience and focus than mine. I have no idea. But for us, it was like just coming up with like making sure it was a good time, you know, making sure that they were like mentally prepared and like carving out time for it. It's like, oh, we want to record with the kids at 1, so we should like go outside with them for the morning so they get all like their sillies out or whatever, you know, and then make sure that everything was like ready for them before they came in the room. Because if they were in the room and then we started setting up, they'd be bored by the time we were ready for them to hit record, and then they'd just be like over it. So having it in little chunks. Although I do think like I know a lot more about like programming in loops than I did back then. So for our kids RPM, we played all the instruments like acoustically and like mic'd them. But then I discovered like Apple Loops and GarageBand. I'm like, man, this could have been way easier and had like the exact same effect for them, because like kids don't care whether you're playing real instruments or not, you know? So I think it's a lot more attainable now that technology is such that you can make music without like a whole lot of training. You know, you can watch a couple of YouTube tutorials and then all of a sudden it's just like you just program a beat and then it's just there. And I think one thing that helped us too was not putting too much pressure on them. So like if they did a take and they said it was good enough, then it was good enough. Even though I knew they could do it better, if you make it a stressful situation, then they're not going to want to do it anymore and they're going to want to quit. So like, you know, it's easy for us as parents to like want to display these like brilliant, perfect kids doing these like brilliant, perfect things. But like for kids, like art is messy and like that's why it's fun. So, you know, you really have to like let your standards drop a little bit, especially if you're a professional musician trying to get your kids involved for the first time. You kind of have to like lower the bar to make sure they enjoy it. I know for me as a kid, like I did piano and stuff growing up, and like when things started getting more intense, or teachers like, oh, you're getting good, you should be doing this much a day for this like competition, and all of a sudden there was like this added level of like responsibility and pressure and like time and commitment, then I didn't like it anymore and I wanted to quit. So for my own kids, I kind of try to keep things fun, and then if they're not in the mood to record it, then we don't record it. They're not in the mood to write, then we don't write. They'd either go play outside, then we go play outside. If it gets done, it gets done. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. Like if you really want to inspire like a lifetime of music making, then I think low pressure is like the only way to go. If you want them to love it, I mean, you could probably make something really amazing, but then they won't care. But every family is so different too, right? So like that's what works for my family, but I just live in this little bubble. So I'm sure everybody knows what's best for their own kids.
Yeah, for us, it would be the same. Yeah, like they can start something, and if they get frustrated with it, yeah, just walk away. We did help them along the way. Like his ideas, I flesh them out. I use Ableton, so I've been virtual instruments all the time, like with drum beats. So I would kind of like fill in the gaps, and then when you see something a little bit more progressed, then you're like, okay, yeah, this sounds good. They seem more invested. Like it really is trying to keep them like invested, keep them interested, keep them feeling like I'm like keep them involved so they feel like they're part of it, but make sure they're not hitting roadblocks because well, I don't know what to do next. I don't want to do this anymore. It's nice outside. Yeah, definitely let them. Still let them do whatever they want to do in a day. Yeah.
I also think it's valuable to think of like I can't remember who said it, but I read this thing. It's just like one of those like little inspirational memes on Facebook, that's like about how you're not like training your kids to turn them into people, like they're already people. they're just young people, and then so if you treat it like, okay, I'm not training you to become a certain kind of artist, or it's like you already are an artist. So like giving them that autonomy over like, yes, that take is good, or yes, these lyrics are good, or like, I'm happy with this, the same as you would give any other vocalist or songwriter. If I was working with another songwriter that was like, these are the words, I wouldn't be like, no, like you can do better. I'd be like, okay, yeah, these are the words. Like, let's work with that. So like giving them like the same kind of respect as you would any other musician, even though like it seems kind of silly when you're like singing about like farts and stuff or like whatever it is, but like that can be so empowering, for them to feel like they have control over their art. It can be such a confidence booster that I think can carry out throughout their whole lives, even if you don't really 100% believe in it. Sometimes I'm working with artists and I don't 100% agree with their idea either, but like you go along with it because that's your place in the production. So if we're working on their song, then that's my place in production, not to like police their idea, but just to like make it happen.
I definitely believe in like meeting them where they are, like just to try to connect with them on their own interests. Like, for Lachlan now, if I say to him, let's write a song about a unicorn kitty, he would be like, yes. So and I like just keeping them interested, like making a video that can be like an added level, like, okay, well, let's not move on to a new song, because like, what about today we make a video for your song? It'd be like Thurston's done stop motion videos for his stuff too. That's like an added level, just rainy day activity type thing to do. That does, it keeps it creative, and you still have that satisfaction of seeing the final product. What was I going to say? Yeah, even like science. Like I was thinking, if you do like science experiments, or like what's an instrument, that could be another like engaging activity. But also meeting them where they are. So I'm having like ping pong brain thoughts. Meeting them where they are. They are so into Roblox right now. I don't know if that's a thing. Other kids out there in the world. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
every like hours. I would like, my idea now is we're gonna make a video. You're gonna make a song. Maybe it can be about Roblox. Can we film your screen? Like what weird Roblox related video can we do? But you know what? Like keep them. This is for you ultimately. What do you want? What are you interested in? What do you want to do? The kids. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and why? I mean, it seems like there's a good amount of work involved. So why do it? Why encourage your kids to do this?
Well, for us, I guess it was that they were interested in it, like they wanted to be involved in it. So whenever I was working on music, like they wanted to be working on music too. So it was just it's like a parenting thing, right? Like building on their interests to help them grow as people. Mm-hmm. And then there's also the idea of like, I just always like the idea of creating things, because you don't know what it'll mean for other people. So like other kids will see it and feel inspired to do their own thing. And that's the thing about art, no matter what kind of art you're making, you don't know what kind of impact it's going to have into the world. So like whether it's mediocre or whether it's excellent doesn't always correlate to like what kind of effect it's going to have. You could make like something that you just slap together and throw out there, and it could affect like thousands of people, or you could make something that's like what you think is like your best work, and it could just like totally flop. So like quality doesn't always correlate to impact. So I think just like empowering them to create and like have an impact and like leave their mark on the world is just kind of a cool thing to do for people that you love.
I think making art is contagious. I saw, say, Thurston make the stop motion video right after I made Zamboni. It just seemed like a natural reaction to make. So it feels like passing it on, and it is such a confidence building activity, like to get them interested in something. Yeah, get them off the computer playing video games.
Right? And I'm a firm believer in like letting your kids quit stuff, so like when I was a kid, it was like I was in piano and I didn't really like piano that much, and I really wanted to quit. My parents would always be like, you got to keep going. Like, you got to keep going. And like, right now, like, okay, yes, I'm glad that I did that. However, there's lots of other instruments and aspects of music that I'm way more interested in. And I might have figured that out if I wasn't so into piano. Like I do play piano, but like, it's not a part of my career or like my outlet. It's like sitting around singing Christmas songs with my mom or whatever. But like, I don't really care that much about piano. Like, I'm glad that I can do it. But I think if you spend a lot of time doing things that you're not that passionate about, then your passions could pass you by. So my kids were in ballet and they quit, and it was fine. My kid was playing clarinet in school band. She wanted to quit. Am I allowed to quit? Yes, quit. Because then it like leaves you the free time to like figure out like what's good for you. So if we were halfway through their RPM and they wanted to quit, I would have let them quit that too. And I was like, well, let's find the next thing, and just kind of hoping that what we land on eventually is something that you will actually be passionate about and carry on learning about. Not that you need to be a professional at it or, you know, change the world or be the best ever, but just that it's something that can be meaningful to you, that you can carry throughout your life. So like, you know, we made an RPM with the kids in 2016, and we haven't made one since, but like once they're excited about it, then like we probably will again, you know, because I want them to like, I don't want them to make music because I make music. I want them to make music if they like music. And if they want to do karate, then they can do karate. I can't help them with that. I'm not an athletic person, but like, you know, it's just about helping them figure out who they are.
Absolutely.
Karate music. I don't know. Karate and music. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, our kids do listen to music incessantly, and they have their own playlists. And nothing to do with us. So it's been very interesting watching like their own music discovery process happen. So then like they discover music actually through Roblox, for example, and it's always like very strange, like songs about tacos, you know, very silly. I think the last one we listened to is like
I know this.
Hello, the sky, tacos. No need to ask. And close your eyes. You know, I looked up that guy. It's the guy from Nerf Herder who writes that. Anyway.
I don't know who that is, but I believe you.
They're a punk band or a rock band?
Yeah, punk band from when I was a teenager. Okay.
Okay.
Small world. So I'm definitely conscious of their interests and, you know, what they want to make, whether that be music or whether that not.
Yeah, right now it's like TikToks. And I will totally make TikToks with my kids. Like, I'm fine with it. Or like baking, you know, it's like, that's cool too.
Oh, there's a lot of baking. I think actually I could get them interested by making YouTube videos. Like there's some will make you like act like they know YouTube. Like they know how to go about their life as if it was a YouTube channel, if you understand what I mean. So
yeah, and they're like, yeah, my kids will sometimes narrate stuff as if it's a YouTube video.
Exactly.
They're like, and now I'm going to click like and subscribe. Like,
down below.
We made one. Nina made one. We went through like a science experiment phase during like the big old like lockdown. So there's a YouTube video. We started a channel, but we only ever made one video of her like dissolving eggs.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that one.
Yeah.
It took longer than expected. That's what I remember.
Yeah, that was, yeah, thank you for remembering the result. There's like some really interesting science going on there. But yeah, I mean, this is what the RPM stands out because I'm also a musician, I guess. So it's like, there's that musician making music with their kids, but like I also go hiking in the woods and like, you know, all the other regular mom stuff. Get mad at them for putting their clean clothes in the laundry. You know, it's like, I'm just like a regular mom like all the other moms. But this one little section of being a mom kind of stands out, I guess, because it sort of aligns with my work.
Amazing. I wonder if there are any questions out there from Facebook or YouTube. Just put them in the comments. We'll clue up in a few minutes here. But yeah, I wanted to thank you both for this chat. This has been excellent. I love I love the idea of encouraging kids to do the RPM if they want to do it, and you two are excellent examples of making that space and giving kids a really great opportunity for making them that stuff. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
No problem. Is there anything, a song or a video that you guys would like to watch of your own, or if they're your kids, now at the end? Let's see. Do you have anything, Natasha?
We have that hash browns one if you want to.
I'd love to. Yeah. If your
yeah,
daughter would feel comfortable with that.
Oh yeah, she's over it. I think we're cool. right, let me see now.
Back, please. Oh, wrong song. We'll do that one next week.
Hash browns are my favorite food. Hash browns are my favorite food.
I eat them for supper and I eat them for lunch. I eat them for breakfast. And I eat them for brunch.
Just lunch.
Hash browns are my favorite meal. Hash browns are my favorite meal. I eat them for supper and I eat them for lunch. I eat them for breakfast.
And I eat it for brunch.
Actually, Ellen,
Sometimes I like bacon with them.
Sometimes I like eggs.
As long as I get hash browns, I don't care. 'Cause
Hash browns are my favorite food.
hash browns are my favorite food. I eat them for supper and I eat them for lunch. I eat them for breakfast.
And I eat it for lunch.
Lunch.
Drop it, Dodo! That was a trumpet. Trumpets.
Sometimes I like bacon with them. Sometimes I like eggs. As long as I've got hash browns, I don't care. 'Cause
Hash browns are my favorite food. Hash browns are my favorite food. Eat them for supper and I eat them for lunch. Eat them for breakfast and I eat them for brunch. Hash browns are my favorite meal.
There's some oh yes, so good.
sorry, that's the flying hash brown sound effect.
I love the advanced special effects of the hash browns.
Right?
Yeah,
Some
That must have-
cutting edge stuff there.
it must have taken you a long time.
I didn't even do it actually. Michael Fenwick did it. He's like a old friend from Stephenville Festival. And he's like, you want to make a video? I was like, yeah, sure.
Sure, man, whatever. It's about hash browns. Excellent.
Excellent. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for joining me today. I hope you had fun. I definitely did, and I hope everybody watching enjoyed or got something out of it. Yeah, check out Truck Rocket and Land of the Lakes and the Hash Browns, and Natasha Blackwood music. Are you teaching music these days, or is that?
No, I'm a full-time venue coordinator at First Light. So I run the concert hall there.
Okay, well,
So I
check
used
out
to be a teacher.
First Light. Excellent work, and thank you everybody again, and see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.